Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few months since I've done a Halo challenge run, and I thought it would only be right if I right a wrong I made in an old challenge run. If anyone watching has seen the older Halo 3 only dual wield, then you would know that I essentially cheated and allowed the use of vehicles. So before I get into the revamped rules, I'm going to show the clips where I went wrong and broke the spirit of the run. I made it to the final section of the mission and used a Wraith to take care of the other vehicles and the sniper tower leading to the final firefight section. So I allowed myself to use a Scorpion for the first part. With all the enemy vehicles was to avoid them and just ram my Warthog into the tower tunnel. I bored the anti-air raids here and I did try, and it didn't work for me. Alright, now that that's over, let's get into the revamped rules. I may only damage / kill enemies by shooting them while only dual wielding. I also tried to only fire both guns simultaneously at all times. I may use equipment except the trip mine, power drain, and auto turret. I may utilize my allies to take out enemies, and if I break any of these rules, then it's immediate reset to last checkpoint. Finally, with the rules out of the way, let's get into the run for the second time, this time on PC. So to start, I turned on the mission timer and the fog skull just because I felt like it. Also adjusted some of my in-game graphics settings so it doesn't affect the recordings in any way. The weapons I spawned in with were the assault rifle and magnum. Alright, not bad. As another adjustment to the rules, I would not allow myself to kill teammates either if I'm only holding one weapon in hand, like I allowed in the first playthrough. With that new rule in place, it was now up to me to find another weapon either lying on the ground or wait for my comrades to kill a grunt so I can get my hands on another weapon. So just like in the first video, this mission was a breeze. I mostly stuck with the spikers with the occasional swap to the plasma pistol. And here's a good example of me being a good boy and not breaking the rules just because I was out of ammo. I freed Johnson and his men, although they did not last very long in the wild with the brute chieftain. I boarded the Pelican and was already on the mission too. This time around for this run, I'm just skipping cutscenes, so hello gameplay, instead of using cutscenes to pad out a video's length like I did last time. Anyway, right off the bat, I got 2 SMGs and burned through my ammo. Not like it matters though, because I was careless and got blown up by a grunt. I got dual plasma pistols, punched this dead marine down this air vent thing, and cleared out this hangar for the marines that were still alive. I ran back to the ops center, and with the help of these marines, we cleared out this room with all the drones. Now it's time to go be a hero and rescue the marines in the barracks. I met up with Arby and ambushed the brutes. Me and Arby and the marines made it to the elevator and dealt with the jump pack brutes. I waited by this door till it opened so I can get my hands on invisibility that was up there in that room. I reactivated the bomb and didn't bother killing any of the enemies, so I just left and finished the mission. Although I think by not killing the enemies in the bomb room, it confuses Johnson because he kept telling me to activate the bomb after I already did.
Hit the switch, Chief. Arm that bomb.
While running to the end of the level, I was trying to kill these grunts here, but while trying to swap out my left weapon, I was a little too eager and accidentally gave this grunt a black eye with a grenade, so I immediately reset to the last checkpoint. But after that reset and Cortana's reminder that I'm gonna die apparently, I finished the mission. Now I'm on Savo Highway, the mission I first cheated on in the initial video. I got in this Warthog with a few marines and made absolutely sure not to splatter any enemies. I picked up a grav lift which gave me the idea to use on the broken bridge ahead so I can speed past the firefight section. Thankfully the idea worked, but I'm pretty sure any allies you have in this area are scripted to get out of any vehicle you're in because they refuse to get back in the Warthog. I drove past the brutes, Wraith, and choppers, but got stuck in this little section here because I tried to speed past all the enemy heavy weaponry. After a few failed attempts, the Wraith had about enough of me baiting it and decided to trick shot my allies. So now that I can't reset the last checkpoint, I have to fight to the last section of the brutes alone, which took me a while because of the lack of ammo and suppression from all the fire I was under. After safely taking out all the brutes except the chieftain, all that was left was for me to kill the grunt in the shade turret. I killed the grunt, then toyed with the chieftain, and then had my way with him. For the first part of mission 4, I decided to utilize my allies in a Warthog to take out any ghosts, wraith, and anti-air wraiths. I made it to the area where you fight your first scarab, and I had a half-decent time trying to take it out. The only real issue being was I was struggling to get on top of it. So I decided the best way to go about getting on top of the scarab would to be allow the rocket marines to shoot his legs, and I would just jump in from the back. I kill the scarab and continue on the mission like normal. I take out the hunters no problem and finish off the anti-air cannon with dual plasma blasts. Alright, so just like last time, I don't really have much to say about Floodgate. It was easy and fast. I beat it under 6 minutes, so on to the arc I guess. I wasted no time trying to run past the first part of the arc, and I managed to do so on the first try. I get in this mongoose and try to speed past the other enemies, but I'm a bad driver apparently. I I cleared out this area of the choppers and brutes, then proceeded to make my way to the area where you have to destroy the anti-air wraiths. I got a warthog with some allies and utilized them to take out the heavy weaponry again. Once Commander Keys made it down, I opted to stay in my warthog and bait out any enemies so my comrades in the tanks could kill them for me. Since this area was the second time I cheated in the first video, it felt good to finally beat this area the correct way. After a little trial and error, I took out all the wraiths and other vehicles in this area and found the next best thing for this area coming up with heavy weaponry: a marine with a goshawk. As long as you know how to drive and keep your marine alive, the strategy will get you to the end where the scarab is. To anyone that would attempt this challenge themselves, here's a little tip for all of you that I ended up using for the majority of this run. The biggest problem I encountered when recording for the first video was I would always run out of ammo and other options to dual wield with. So what I did for a lot of this run was I would carry a dual wieldable weapon in my primary and secondary slot. By doing that, it would allow me to pick up another weapon, like a carbine for example, and swap to my other weapon, then dual wield with the weapon that I just dropped. This strategy was incredibly helpful for whenever I couldn't find another dual wieldable weapon lying around, and unlike the first run where I got stuck on the scarab for about an hour and a half, I beat it first try this time and within only a minute. Minor victory aside, I continue on with the level, find out where truth is, and make my way downstairs for evac. I speed past the invisible brutes to kill the brute chieftain in record time, and then struggle with all the rest, but thankfully managed to stay alive and make my way onto the next level. So far, wow, what the fuck? So far, the entire run is looking great, and I have not broken a single rule, unlike a certain other video I did. But in truth, I was worried about this mission the most. Starting out in this mission, I handed my Spartan laser over to an ODST, but he had a conniption and jumped back in the Pelican for whatever reason. So I reset to the last checkpoint, then restarted the mission because I got a checkpoint as soon as the ODST jumped back in the Pelican. Also, might I add that relying on your AI allies to use the Spartan laser efficiently is a horrible idea. Anyways, I emptied all the ammo in this brute's head to take out the anti-air wraiths, but had to find new weapons because, like I just stated, I ran out of ammo and my teammates were being fucking useless. Sorry, I lost my composure there a little bit. Either way, I loaded up my crew with heavy weaponry, then we rode onto the first tower. The ODST with the fuel rod cannon took out most of the enemy vehicles and ground troops, so deciding to give him that weapon was the right call. Once I made it to the tower, I decided to use a shortcut to bypass the enemies on the second floor. I used the grenades I had to move this Covenant crate into the position I needed to be in to perform the skip. And before anyone says anything about me using grenades, I killed all the nearby enemies and made absolutely sure that there was no enemies nearby when I decided to throw them. Either way, made it to the top and was a bit too confident in my approach. I shut down the tower, drove back down the hill, and for maximum efficiency, I made sure to have some allies on my Falcon with heavy weaponry. Thankfully for me, I still had my ODST with the Spartan laser and a Marine with the fuel rod cannon. These two AIs were the key to my success in this area. They destroyed the race at the third tower, except for this guy here. He must be a new driver. After a bit of a struggle taking out the brutes here because they kept pushing me and my elite allies, me and Arbiter made it inside. I killed the drones, leave the hunters to Arby, kill these brutes, and finally killed these drones to make it to the top of the tower. I killed this pack of brutes, deactivate the tower, and oh hey, it's the flood. Since I knew the fight with the two scarabs was coming up, I used the same strategy of having two allies on a Falcon with heavy weaponry. This time around is a rocket launcher and a fuel rod cannon. We destroyed the first scarab no problem, but unfortunately I lost my rocket launcher Marine. While flying around the second scarab, they managed to kill my other ally, so I had to head back and get the goshawk. I found a good vantage point and crippled its legs, but it was for naught because when the scarab lowered itself, I had a hard time getting on it, so unfortunately it got back up. I tried to fly on the back of it, but I fell off immediately and it destroyed my Falcon in the process, so I had to find another way back on. I got back in my goshawk and managed to land on it because of this ramp. Once I was on the scarab, I was home free. I hid behind this brute so it couldn't shoot me, and I could regain my health. I traded my magnum for this fuel rod so I could then dual wield with the Mauler. And finally I destroyed the final scarab, met back up with Arby, and after a team up and an immediate betrayal by the flood, I beat the Covenant. Woo! Finally, only 2 levels left. Trying to be speedy in the beginning of Cortana was a bit of a bad idea because I immediately got known by a pure flood form, so I got to listen to Gravemind talk about sins and stuff.
The father's sins pass to his son.
Nothing too interesting happened during this level. I just again sped through everything, saved Cortana, destroyed the reactors, met back up with Arby, and escaped High Charity. Repeat ad nauseum. I once again just tried to speed past the level, which works great in my favor because I made it to the top of the control room in record time. Guilty Spark murdered Johnson in cold blood, again, and I have to break the one and main rule of the run because the only way to kill Guilty Spark here is with the Spartan laser. Arby showed some sympathy.
I am sorry, Spartan. but come.
And thankfully killed these 2 combat forms, which allowed for me to pick up the 2 plasma rifles, speeding past the flood once again and made it to Johnson's Warhog, and at this point I was home free. I did accidentally get a few splatters in the Warhog, but whenever I did, I just immediately reset to the last checkpoint, and after a few of those resets, me and Arby made it to the frigate successfully and the run was over, and completed correctly this time, despite the guilty Spark boss fight again. Alright, with this challenge run complete again, but correctly this time, I can finally relax knowing that it is doable and I'm just a dummy dum-dum. As always, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for whenever I do upload once in a blue moon. See you all again soon, and take care of yourselves.